Sometimes icebreakers can be a little bit overwhelming for some of our students. Is that the sun? Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of English with Sarvi. Today I'm going to tell you about a task that can help you start your lesson with a new group, whether it's the beginning of the year with your teenagers, middle schoolers, high schoolers, or if it is like an adult class and you will see them for one term, 12 sessions, and you're thinking, how can I start it and have a kind of icebreaker with my students and at the same time get to know them, not to put a lot of pressure on them, and also make it fun. This idea is not exactly mine. It's another great teacher that I'm going to put the link to her channel right here. And let's say that I'm going to give you some tips because I actually did it in my own classroom. Some things went really well, but some stuff I hadn't anticipated before. So I thought you can take a look at her channel, you can find out about the idea, and then you can find out about my own experience and how I actually adapted it to my own middle school lesson. So remember that you can do it with both teenagers and adults, both online and face-to-face, and we're going to talk about both of them here in this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video, share it with your friends. Now let's go and watch the video. So the first thing you need is a bunch of questions. Remember, the number of the questions will determine how many stations you will have in the classroom. I'm going to show you the stations right here and also the questions. The questions are taken from the same YouTube channel that I told you. So I guess if you go ahead and take a look at her channel, you're going to find out the questions. If it is a face-to-face classroom, you can put them all on your smartboard or take some printouts and give them to your students. If it is an online classroom, you need like something like Jamboard or the whiteboard of your Zoom or any other platform that you use. Just put it there, put the questions there, copy paste it so that everyone can see. Then the next thing is to create your own stations. You're going to put them all in different parts of the classroom, as you can see here. If you have 8 questions, you need to have 8 stations. If you have 4 questions, you will definitely need 4 stations. Quick tip: if your class is 40 minutes and you have got more than 20 students, I recommend that you go with 4 or 5 questions tops. But if you see them more than 40 minutes, like if you have 1 hour at least with your students, or if you have got like 2 40 minutes, one after another with a 10-minute break, just like I do, yes, 8 questions to 10 questions, that's a good one. But for us, 8 questions, just 40 minutes was not enough. The third thing that you need, which is very important and can be really time consuming, is some post-it or some pieces of paper for your students ready-made. Like if you have got like 8 questions, at least have 8 pieces of paper, because if you ask them to just take a piece of paper from their own notebooks and just tear it up and make like 8 pieces of paper, it will take a lot of time, and we really don't want to lose time for this exercise because it's really time consuming and it has got like different steps. Prepare at least 8 pieces of paper for each student. If they need to stick it to the wall and it's not a post-it, you need to have some tackets with you. Now that everything is ready, you can begin. You go to the class, you give each student 8 pieces of paper, you show them the questions, and you tell them to write each answer to each question on 1 piece of paper. And usually I ask this ICQ first. Are you going to write all of the answers on 1 piece of paper? They usually say no, because we want to, I mean, ICQs, instruction check questions, are exactly for situations like this, when students have to do some different things or a lot of things at the same time, and they might, you know, be confused. So I suggest that you ask this ICQ too. Give them 8 minutes. If you have 8 questions, give them 8 minutes, and before you start it, tell them that for each question you have got 1 minute, manage your time, and write your sentence. As soon as they are finished, group them. You can use any grouping technique that you like, and then ask the groups to just go ahead and stick their answers to the correct station and discuss why they have chosen that answer or why they have written that sentence. Like, okay, I want to have my diploma, why? I'm gonna share some of their answers with you and you're gonna laugh. So students are gonna go station by station and they're going to stick their notes on the wall. When they are finished, they're not really finished. You will ask them to now group the answers based on the common things they can find in the answers. Here I will show you one example about jobs and university. At the end of the class, you will ask each group to write the most important thing for you to remember from the classroom. And I really like the reasons that were provided in the video I told you in the beginning of the class. I mean, she's an awesome teacher. I've forgotten her name, God forgive me. There is also one worksheet, as I told you, which is provided for the students to do after doing this activity. I didn't find the time to do it with my own students, so I gave it to them to actually go home and do it as homework and bring it back to school. But it's again another great activity, a great worksheet that will help you get to know your students better. After all, it's the first day of school, or it's the first session of a term that you're meeting these students, and you want to know as much as you can about them without putting a lot of pressure on them, because sometimes icebreakers can be a little bit overwhelming for some of our students. About the online version, there are some little changes that you need to make. First of all, you need to share the questions before the class with your students through their emails, or you can just put it on WhatsApp if you have got like a WhatsApp group with them, and it's a good idea to actually have a Telegram group or a WhatsApp group with them. So share it with them, get their answers, and in the classroom, the first session, I mean, you will do that before your first session, and the first session, when you actually meet them in the classroom, you put them into different breakout rooms and you will make them speak about all of those answers that they have given to the questions, and this way they can actually make some interactions based on what they have done before. I know that it's not that much dynamic, your students are not moving around that much, walking around, you don't have any stations around, but still you can add more questions to it and make it at least a memorable activity for them. I mean, it's really good when you look at it like before even they start their first session in an online classroom with its own limitations, they can still answer some questions on their own, so practice some writing. And then in the classroom they have got some really fun activity to speak. I mean, they are not writing anything in the classroom or listening to anything, because we're talking about the first session of an online classroom. So try not to expect much. If you like the video, don't forget to share it with your friends, like the video for me, and also if you still haven't done it, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I love you and bye bye.